keep them
No,
close.
you better take me to the fucking doctors, but you better
Over the years, I've seen a lot of people focus on de-escalation training for emergency medical staff. The problem is, de-escalation in the emergency medical scene might be a myth. Stick around and I'll explain in this episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. Now, the de-escalation bandwagon is going to be jumping up and down right now going, Kip, you're out of your mind, you've lost it, you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe, but hear me out. This is why I say in the emergency medicine arena, de-escalation is a myth, is because the only person I can control in an emergency is myself. Consider, if you stepped out on your front porch in the middle of a hurricane and said, hurricane, calm down. Is the hurricane going to calm down? We've witnessed time and time again, and even in a few of the videos that I've shared, that sometimes no matter what is going on, if the provider attempts to tell someone to calm down or settle down or gives them an order, man, that just is like adding fuel to the fire. So instead of de-escalation, consider escalation control.
When I come to the nurse is an arrogant son of a bitch that tells me I have 7 patients. So I don't know how to.
So did you hear what the woman said? It didn't matter what the nurse was trying to say, which is, hey, I have 7 other patients. In that moment, you can tell that she doesn't care what else you have. So that part of de-escalation, we're trying to tell someone that you're busy, may not always work. The other part I wanted you to catch out of that video is you can hear someone going, ma'am, 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 at the same time she's talking. See, 2 people are doing this. 1 person is not doing this. There has to be several things in place for escalation control to even begin to happen. First of all, we have to keep everything that we're discussing here in context. We're saying an emergency medical situation or an emergency traumatic situation where the adrenaline is already in on everyone, people are amped up, there's a lot of anxiety, and we all know that anxiety breeds anxiety. So imparting our peace on someone can most certainly change a situation. One of the things that law enforcement taught me was that no one person can control another person unless they want you to, which is why police officers have not only the authority to tell someone to do something, but they have empty hand skills, and if they don't believe the empty hand skills would be appropriate at that time, they have the ability to use pain compliance tools, whether that be pepper spray, taser, baton, so on and so forth. In the healthcare arena, we don't have that, so therefore we can't be, or we shouldn't be commanding people to do something as far as calm down. And those of you that have been doing this a while, you know what I'm talking about. So now that we understand the context, we need to consider distance. If you're right on top of someone, and they're already upset, distance is important. Imagine just even a classroom in a cool, comfortable environment where the people are there supposedly to help you, right? Help you get better. Well, if the instructor stands right on you, you notice how that irritates you or it bothers you, it makes you uncomfortable. So we all understand personal space. When someone's amped up, that personal space is even more important, in my opinion. Meaning, if I'm already angry and now you're stepping up on me, it's that, hey, why are you getting in my grill, right? Why are you getting in my space? So distancing, a minimum of 6 feet, is initially important for trying to escalation control the situation. The next part is body language. Folks, we communicate a ton by body language. You are picking up on signals and we are sending signals pretty quickly in any situation. So if my words aren't matching what my body language is saying, people take offense to that. It's instant. You will see it quite a bit, and I experienced it a lot even in law enforcement. So it is an understanding that my body language must match my words, stances. How you stand makes a difference. The point of what we try to share with people of what we call the surveying stance when you're surveying a scene, hands out of your pockets, above your waist, nothing in your hands initially. Again, I know these things are weird and they seem odd because your brain goes, well, I got to write this down or I got to type it on it. I'm talking about initially. Those first few moments are important. Well, so what do we say in that type of situation? here's the thing. I can't tell you what to say in every situation, but I can give you a formula that will help. It will help control the escalation that is occurring at that moment. I've had a lot of great classes over the years in law enforcement that had to do with everything from verbal judo, which I would recommend if you ever get a chance to take, please take it. I took verbal fitness for street patrol, and then I've had a lot of other studies on communication and the psychology of influence and things like that. Well, there are several pieces of those things that we put into the verbal skills formula that we use in our program. And I'm going to give that formula to you today. And that formula is validate, explain, request help. Think of VER from the word verbal. That's what builds the verbal skills formula. So validate, explain, request help. What do I mean? Validate. Consider an argument where two people are doing this. What's one person not doing? That's right. Somebody's not listening. So if you validate the fact that someone is speaking, you then begin to change that process because you're not trying to talk over them and it's not two people engaged in an argument now. So if the person's barking, one of the things that I found that works really well across all levels of financial status or races or whatever, but if I just say, I get that. So if the person's going, man, you're a jerk, and you go, I get that, it kind of makes them go, what? Or if they're like, why aren't you guys busy? And whatever it is they're saying, the first thing that you can reply with is, I get that.
Yeah, man, I understand the idea. It's how he expressed it. I get that.
And so there's your V for the validate, is simply, I get that. The next part is E for explain. What we're trying to do is, we know that in an emergency situation, anxiety breeds anxiety, and therefore, if a person doesn't know what's going on, it increases the anxiety in the area. So if I tell a person what I'm doing, and I don't have to give a dissertation on why I'm doing what I'm doing, but give them a brief explanation. We're trying to put this tube in your son to help them breathe. We're trying to start this IV so we can give you medicine. It's whatever it may be, it's a moment in time that you're redirecting their thought process. So I validate the fact that they spoke to me, I explain what I'm doing, and the last part is request help. Hey, can you help me out by blank? When you put these three together, and again, you better practice ahead of time because otherwise it's going to come out robotic. V, validate. I hear you. E, explain. What we're doing is, and now you've made the situation even worse. So this formula helps the provider settle things down, bring it back into a context when possible. Our verbal skills formula is for when we can attempt to control the escalation of a situation. So if I'm being attacked, now it's not the time to talk to that person. That's the time to be getting away. Please don't confuse the elderly nursing home patient with the drug or alcohol intoxicated person who's trying to criminally assault you. Those are two different people. And we wonder why our people continue to get beat up. Well, this is why. Stances, distancing, body language, how I say what I say, and the verbal skills formula all work together and have to work together to give you a escalation control model in emergency medicine. So if you believe in our message with what we're trying to do here, which is saving yours while you save others, please let others know we exist. Share this around, give us a thumbs up. And until next time, I'm Kip Teitsort. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.